Velvet Revolver was formed in 2002, and some people, at least initially, referred to Velvet Revolver as GN'R 2.0, considering Slash, Duff, and Matt Sorum were all in the band. But in my opinion, what really would have pushed the GN'R 2.0 conversation over the top would have been if Izzy Stradlin also joined the band, which almost happened, sort of. I'm going to read to you guys a few quotes from Duff McKagan and Slash, both discussing Izzy's relationship with Velvet Revolver, but before I do that, I want to give a little context as to how the band started. On March 26, 2002, Randy Castillo, a well-respected drummer in the hard rock world, passed away from cancer. A benefit concert was held shortly after in honor of Randy, and in order to help raise funds for Randy's family. Slash, Duff McKagan, and Matt Sorum were among the musicians who played at this benefit, and the three of them reconnected. Josh Todd and Keith Nelson, both of Buckcherry, also performed at the benefit concert, and together the five of them started working on new material. Through this collaboration together, they came up with the song Dirty Little Thing, which eventually became a single off of Velvet Revolver's debut record Contraband. We'll get into that in just a bit. The five musicians discussed the possibility of forming a band, but eventually decided against it. Nevertheless, Slash, Duff, and Matt continued to work together. Dave Kushner, a guitarist who previously worked with Duff and who also went to school with Slash, soon joined this new band. And shortly after, Izzy Stradlin got involved with this band as well, to a certain extent. According to Slash, Izzy just started showing up to rehearsals and jammed with them for several weeks. The following is a quote from Slash. Izzy just came out of nowhere, as Izzy does. Poor Dave. Izzy's sitting there, this ominous presence, and Dave's thinking, that's the original guitarist from Guns N' Roses. Am I still going to have a job? But we're really loyal people. It wasn't like, hey Dave, we're going to work on some songs with Izzy, call us back in a couple of weeks. When Izzy was there, we just played with three guitarists. You have to understand our relationship with Izzy. Izzy's always been the guy who's sort of there and sort of not there. Duff and I have seen Izzy periodically. I've played on his records a couple of times, and Duff has done the same thing. And then he called up right when we were in the midst of writing, and he actually came over and brought a couple of songs with him. And then we just started hanging out and jamming, and we wrote like 10 or so songs. It was just a lot of fun, but as soon as we started to physically audition singers, we didn't see him again. Now, furthermore, according to Slash's biography, Izzy Stradlin suggested the band be a quartet with him and Duff handling vocal duties while they went on a van tour and played some clubs. The rest of the guys in the band, however, didn't want to approach things in that way. In 2003, Duff McKagan said the following. The Izzy thing probably got misconstrued a little bit. I think he wanted to come in like, let's go out on tour right away. I've got 8 songs, let's go. We'll do some covers, Duff and I will sing. But Matt and Slash and I were more like, if we're going to do this, we're going to have to do it so it's amazing. I've heard a lot of fans saying, why don't you have Izzy in the band now? Well, this isn't cut out for him. He's more of a guy who will be here one day and gone the next, and you won't know where he's gone to. But he added a new energy that we probably needed at that point. Now, Izzy's side of the story regarding Velvet Revolver isn't very well documented. There's not much info out there. So for now, all we really have as a reference point is the perspective of the other guys in the band. In any case, however, although Izzy Stradlin did not officially join Velvet Revolver, he did play with the band live on a few different occasions. And interestingly, some of the songs that Izzy wrote with Velvet Revolver during their sessions together ended up on Izzy Stradlin's solo record, Like a Dog, which was released in October of 2005. On September 12, 2019, Matt Sorum posted the following photo on his Instagram. Early period of writing with Slash, Duff, and Izzy for what became Velvet Revolver. Some of those songs ended up on Izzy's solo album, Like a Dog. Photo, Gene Kirkland. To date, Izzy has released 11 solo records. His first solo record was released under the name Izzy Stradlin and the Juju Hounds. The following 10 were released as Izzy Stradlin. Now, I want to show you guys a clip from my documentary, What is Classic Rock?, where Gilby Clarke and Marc Canter, a longtime friend of the band's and the band's original photographer, talk about what it was that made Guns N' Roses click as a band. Others in this clip include Dee Snider, Ben and John from Billy Talent, and Suzi Quatro. If you'd like to see the full documentary, What is Classic Rock?, the links are available below.
For me, more than anything is there are no new bands that can play a stadium. You know, there just are really no new bands that have really kind of just taken it by the nuts and just squeezed, you know. There aren't.
There's no overall canopy. There's no band that everyone goes, that's our band. There's no Guns N' Roses. You know?
When I was a part of Guns N' Roses, with Metallica, we were playing stadiums.
And on that note, this one goes back to the first album. This one goes back to before the first album. This one goes back to the bars, motherfucker.
In order to predict the future, we have to study the past. The last great hard rock band to come out of the same style, the same vein as Zeppelin and Aerosmith, to make an unprecedented impact on music globally was Guns N' Roses. I'm heading to Los Angeles to meet with a gentleman named Marc Canter, a childhood friend of Slash and the original GN'R photographer. If there's anyone who knows Guns N' Roses inside out, it's Marc.
What made Guns N' Roses so special was all 5 of them together on stage. There was something that each one of them radiated. So they all worked off each other's ideas, and there's not one person really responsible for it. In fact, if you add up the percentages, what you'd think they contributed, it'd come out to like 180%. It wouldn't come up to 100 because they're all, you know, let's say Axl's worth 50% and Slash, you got to give him at least 40%. You give Izzy and Duff 30% each, and then Steven 20, you're going to come up with more than 100. If you looked at a poster of them on the wall, you could identify all 5 of them.
Nowadays, most of the bands will have like a great guitar player or a great singer or like one person, and then, you know, the other guys in the band are in 10 different bands.
A lot of guitar players today, they played their guitar all the way up here, and they don't dress and they don't lean the right way, and they might play okay, but it's not enough to excite you. It takes more than just hearing it. Something has to excite you. I remember when I grew up, and I started first liking Aerosmith. I heard them on the radio, and I thought they were cool. And one day I was looking through a magazine, and it said Aerosmith, and I saw those pictures, and it was like I was in hook, line, and sinker. It wasn't just the music. Now it's the image. The image pulled me in just as much as the music. Now, if you look today's band, you don't even see posters anymore, but if you did, you would maybe identify the singer.
When I was in high school, and granted we're going back a long ways, there were at least 4 or 5 drummers in my high school. There were 10 bass players, 20 guitar players, and there were 3 singers. When my daughter was in high school and she wanted to start a band, there was 1 drummer in her high school. There was 1 bass player. There were about 5 to 10 guitar players and 600 singers.
I think that reality shows have killed off a lot of creativity. It's sort of made being famous more important than making good music. I mean, can you see Kurt Cobain on a reality show? Are you kidding? He wouldn't get past the first audition.